Hello and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, playing as the German Empire still. So, the last time we played, we just managed to get our feet onto British shore. We landed troops here at Dover, and found to our surprise that the British Isle, or Great Britain itself, was barely even defended. Which is, our troops are probably going to make short work of Britain, after which point I think we will turn our attention over towards Spain. However, before that, or perhaps the Soviet Union. However, before that, I want to go over some things I did in between this, or the past episode and this episode. So first of all, I did a little bit of naval designing, not much. I just created a new destroyer class. We had a Z class. I just call this one UZ class, which is a slightly beefed up anti-submarine warfare role destroyer. I changed the fire control system from fire control, I believe 1 or 0, over to sonar, just so we can locate submarines better. And we're going to use this in conjunction with a cruiser design, which I'm not quite sure what it will be yet, to create our anti-submarine task forces. For now, though, I feel like it's probably not going to be hugely important in the near future for us to start producing these and start using them, because I feel like Great Britain is going to fall before we can even get those ships fielded and get them into the North Sea to take out all those British submarines. Other than that, I wanted to point out something cool that I found. So, I didn't realize this, but these planes over here are this universe's version of this universe's Junkers Ju-86. And I believe, so the Ju-87, I think, is the Stuka, which is the close air support plane, sorry. I want to see if our current close air support is, yeah, it's not even made by Junkers. So you have a Junkers tactical bomber, but not a close air support plane. I'm wondering if that has something to do with the NSDAP's involvement, like the Nazi Party's involvement with sort of supporting and kind of supporting specific design companies and stuff, and sort of taking them into the state apparatus. I wonder if a direct result of them not sort of pumping money into Junkers is that they only got this one design in. I know for a fact that there is let's see, the fighter here. We don't use the Messerschmitt 109, BF 109, because Messerschmitt was supported by the Nazi Party. So instead we have Fokker still, which they designed a lot of the airplanes used by the German Empire during the First World War, like the famous Fokker triplane, which I believe the Red Baron Manfred von Richthofen flew. And I believe Manfred von Richthofen should be somewhere around here. There he is. Our Chief of the Air Force, the Red Baron, yeah. And let's see. Oh, also, and then in World War II, I believe Fokker, because you've got the Fokker Wolf 190, sorry. So I believe the oh, it's even here actually. I believe maybe Fokker and a different design company either collaborated or merged or something. Or sorry, Fokker, not Fokker. Never mind then. In that case, I don't know who made the Fokker Wolf then. If that is a company, like if that is a just a company called the Fokker Wolf, or if that's something else. I really don't know. And in fact, I could probably make a note and look that up for the next episode. Anyways, let's continue our invasion of Great Britain here. And pause and let the clock tick. Probably don't need these guys anymore. Let's send them home so that they stop guzzling our fuel. Not that we necessarily have a desperate need for it. Unlike historical Germany, the German Empire here is, you know, not struggling for oil or fuel at all. Getting shot down by 25 enemy fighters. Our fighters aren't being very effective because they. Oh. With Mittelafrika still possessing the rights to administer our colonies in Mittelafrika, our newly gained holdings there should be transferred to their control. What did we gain in Africa? Djibouti. Where was Djibouti? Excuse me? We've had this for a long time. Why should this be given to Mittelafrika? We're essentially giving them all of our African holdings except for these islands here. That must have been a result of them doing an event, maybe, or like a focus tree. I mean, we don't have a choice, so here you go, Goering. Have fun. Or, I mean, please don't, because we know what Goering gets up to. Alright, so we're going to have a supply problem if we just sit around here. So I'm gonna start taking. I'm gonna start. Wait, why are we not moving? We're not moving because of the supply problem. They must be, yeah. I'm gonna start telling them manually to attack. Okay, let's select half of those. And have them stay behind, I think. Select half of those and send them in here. The other half in there. And then use this half to support half of those attacks, or support whichever one of those attacks needs support. Which it looks like it's going to be London. In fact, actually no, I'm going to take half of these and support that attack. Oh yeah, we're going to get attacked across the sea here, but it's not going to be effective anyways. Since they have to attack like across the Thames, so they get a river crossing penalty. The Cairo Pact, yep. And we still have Rashidi Arabia here. I read a comment about how I should protect the unicorn that is Rashidi Arabia. Maybe. At the moment, they seem to be doing fine against the Ottoman Empire, in the sense that the Ottoman Empire aren't fighting Rashidi Arabia. That might change if they decide to attack Yemen, of course. This is actually, like, really bad that we aren't making any progress here. Let us send our tank in here, tank division, and let's have these guys try to support that attack. Dude, oh my god. Spanish Civil War is over. Ended predictably with the syndicalists in power. Let's see. We need to sort out this stuff. We want to take London and sort of be able to push out of this little choke point we've got ourselves into here. Half of these support, and then yeah, the rest can defend. Spanish Morocco, let's see. We will occupy Spanish Morocco. And they can, I believe, respond to this with force. Though I strongly doubt they will. Okay, cool. Spanish Morocco is now occupied. The Aprist Revolution in Peru. That is not related to what I just read here. So Nepal declared war on the Dominion of India. Why would you do that? And the Red Flood has reached the Andes. Oh my god, what the fuck? That's an interesting name situation you got going on there, Chile. Oh my god, okay. The Cherokee Socialisti take power in Bulgaria. Oh. That's not too bad. But yeah, this is actually disgusting. This is horrible. Absolutely horrible. Is this? Yeah, this is war as well, right? Yeah, just all these Latin American countries are fighting. Right, let's see. What do we want for research? We have most of the stuff we kind of want to have. We want to get a heavy fighter for the sea recon and stuff, but we don't need it yet. They did fix recently a bug with not being able to spend air experience on air doctrine research. Previously, in the past version before this hotfix, you could only spend army experience, which is kind of weird because obviously that's not how it's meant to be. Some kind of bug got into the game, and that's fixed now. It's a quick and easy fix, alongside a bunch of other small fixes and stuff. Mineling is very powerful in this version of the game, but I'm not quite sure if we want to. Like, I don't think we want to start doing that yet. We might want to do that once we get our submarine production up and running and stuff. Once we start pumping out, and by that I mean like mine submarines. Once we start pumping out better submarines, we'll set up a mine submarine kind of template and stuff. Maybe with a fuel tank, which is one of the one of the components in Kaiserreich, which isn't in vanilla. Technically, some submarine templates can have fuel tanks in vanilla, but they are exclusively tied to certain focus trees, I believe, for a lot of major nations. I think we're gonna go with firefighting drills, just because it lowers the chance of us losing our ships. It's just a very general good bonus that that doesn't require any production from our side to sort of to take advantage of it. And we're gonna go ahead and do approach Poland because it is a 35-day focus, and does lead down to this. What's the situation with Poland right now? Yeah, they're in our alliance. Do we even need this then? What does it do? Okay, one of them must be true, is in a faction. Economic friendship, and they get an event. Which, I mean, I don't know what the event actually does. But this might be very good for us in terms of like political power and stuff. Might give us political power, so I'm gonna do it. And then I think maybe after that we're gonna hold off on spending too much or doing a lot of focuses, because I kind of want to build back our political power so we can actually do stuff with it. But we've taken Portsmouth actually, which is awesome because now we can sort of start wrapping around these beleaguered English troops here.
Angetreten.
It's very appropriate that the song that's playing right now is Amazing Grace on bagpipes as we are destroying, well, or you know, killing off the Union of Britain. It's the eulogy for the Union of Britain. Let's create destroyers. I don't know which template they're gonna use. They might be using like a specifically tailored template for the event troops, like the event ships. What is this this front line here? It's not the tank, I don't think. It might be the tank actually, because I may have created a front line just to have the tank sort of ship over.
Auf geht's.
Yeah, probably is the tank. We want to take all of the ports here, because the more ports you have, the more access to supplies you're gonna have. Totalist in the Baratia commune. I thought that was already a thing. Or was I mistaken? Probably was mistaken. Patagonian Workers Front took 11 states, so Paraguay, or sorry, Argentina was annexed. Oh my god, okay, so we got a big ass syndicalist nation here in Latin America. Well, two big ass syndicalist nations. Which, I mean, the squaring off between integralist Brazil and these syndicalists is pretty much an inevitability. Declaration of the Argentine Commune. Oh, okay, cool, so they changed. Serious victory for socialism, which is a loss for all of us. For the monarchies. And yeah, that also does mean we lose the trade agreement. Let's chase these the 10th Republican stalwart militia out of Cornwall here.
Zuhören.
This is it's very strange. So we have National Populist Romania and monarchist Austrian Empire, or sorry, Social Democrat Austrian Empire, which I suppose makes some sense. But you have these two nations, which I think they aren't diametrically opposed to the German Empire, but perhaps Iron God Romania is in a sense, but they're even more so meant to be opposed to the Union of Britain. But they have both sent volunteers their way to fight us. Oh, and we've taken London. No, we haven't. Oh, I'm stupid. We've taken part of the Greater London area. Ah, okay, so it's kind of like it's like a two-tile city kind of thing. Not even Berlin is that. Are there any well, okay, so you've got this kind of like greater metropolitan area here. Kind of ooh, okay. Kind of like the what's going on in reality with like cities on the East Coast here. Where basically cities grow so large that the individual cities begin to grow into each other and kind of create this larger, I guess, Oh, there's a word for it. I think they use it in Judge Dredd and in Blade Runner for the kind of situation where cities like this grow into each other and stuff, and the lines between each city kind of start to blur. So, the Centrum politician Heinrich von Brentano gave an impassioned speech on how the differences of the past must be laid aside in order to create a stronger European economic bloc. That included every nation, even nations with which we have our differences. While not mentioned explicitly by name, it was obvious that to most, that he spoke of reconciling with our smaller neighbor Poland. Our relationship with Poland has been icy since the end of the Weltkrieg, and Polish nationalism has been a keen thorn in the Kaiser's side over the past 2 decades. Perhaps it is time to set aside our old animosity for the sake of the future. Only time will tell. I mean, we're in a faction together. We're fighting a common enemy, so we should be doing good. Okay, rebellion in Yemen. So the Yemeni are rebelling against the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, and the Rashidi are actually fighting the Ottoman Empire now, and now all of these Arab nations are revolting. The Mashriq Kingdom, and I believe Iran. Yeah, Iran's fighting as well. Fighting the Ottoman Empire as well. So all of the Arabic nations, and as well as Persian nation of Iran, are uniting against the Turks. Again, sort of like a parallel to what happened in World War One, but apparently it did not happen here because of the change in how World War One actually turned out. In reality, in our timeline, the Arabic revolt was guided and aided by French and British intelligence. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Finish Black Monday reforms so we can remove the Schacht plan. That's gonna give us a lot of good, economic effects. Basically, it's gonna like superpower our economy, which is right now already kind of strong for, well, compared to a lot of nations at this time. But it's gonna basically rocket our economy upwards. Keep forgetting to unpause. We've had 2 naval battles here. Let's see. We lost a light ship, but that's fine because they lost 2 dreadnoughts and they lost 4 fast battleships, 9 destroyers, aka light ships, and 4 cruisers. That's fucking huge. How many ships do they have left? 3. Oh, we got 3 heavy carriers, 9 light cruisers, and cruisers. Assume light cruisers because these are also called cruisers, but they're just a C, like in like the real classification, because CL is a light cruiser. 12 light ships and 1 battleship, fast battleship, and 12 submarines. Let's see what the other one says. Oh, never mind, the other battle result isn't here anymore. Oh well. The Black Dossier. A group of anonymous officers and administrators in Mittelafrika have compiled documentation and evidence of illegal activity by Statthalter von Goering and presented it to the cabinet. The evidence, if true, is very serious. According to what they allege, Statthalter von Goering has been using the generous state budget we have provided him with to buy off politicians throughout the Reichspakt in order to secure support for his administration, as well as demanding state officials pay into a slush fund. Even more darkly, it alleges with less evidence that von Goering and his loyalists gather information for blackmail against his own employees. It alleges with less evidence that Goering and his loyalists gather That's kind of a sort of weirdly worded sentence. Has been involved in the kidnapping and intimidation of journalists and even hiring assassins. Well then. We're gonna start our corruption investigation. Again, I don't imagine our German Empire as being like this whole this kind of like force of evil, I guess, on the continent. I believe our German Empire to be a complicated mess of you know, of gray moral situations. Obviously, in this case, in our current war, we're probably the bad guys, I imagine. Maybe not against France, where they had the totalists, but potentially against the Union of Britain. But of course, history will tell. Also, kind of what I really like about Kaiserreich and the way the Weltkrieg kind of usually turns out is that really there are no very clear bad guys here. Of course, every timeline can sort of end up, or every playthrough ends up differently, but except for maybe Goering and Ungen Sternberg and perhaps a couple of other colorful characters, we aren't living in a world of very clear bad guys. Portugal has joined the Entente, honoring their long-standing alliance with the British. Oh! National Populists with Maria III. What is that? It's not the Organic Kingdom, it's something else. Unless this focus tree is specifically for the National Populist Portugal. I don't know. I know very little about Portugal in this timeline, and this is very surprising to me. Portugal has joined the West Indies Federation as our ally in the West Indian-British War. Nice. And that is the invasion of the Union of Britain and the French Republic's invasion of France.
Angetreten. Ausrücken.
Actually, let's pull the tanks back. I don't remember what kind of template we have for the tanks. It's decent. It's not good, but it's not horrible either. How many tanks do we have in terms of, or how many are we producing? 0.3 per day. I'm gonna send weapons to the American Union State because currently, even though we are losing weapons, we don't necessarily have a we aren't starved for weapons at all. I'm gonna send our tanks over here. That should include the tanks over here in in East Germany or in Berlin. We're gonna put them next to London. I'm gonna try to sort of encircle London and then catch them in an envelopment and collapse down onto London. We don't want to attack across the Thames, but we do need to have troops there right now. French Kingdom wants to send us, I believe those are cannons, and I will gladly accept. And the Empire of Brazil, oh my god, that is the worst color I've ever seen. What the fuck? So Pedro III has declared himself emperor. This is a very interesting map, actually. So we have uh, a... Oh, Albania joined Austria's alliance. We're sort of set up here, I think, for potentially a continuation war after... So first of all, after we take Britain and France, so we've taken France, obviously, and denying the French Republic of their homecoming. And then potentially also being able to deny the Canadian government of their homecoming to Britain. That could create a situation in which we have a continuation war where we fight the Entente, I believe. Or we could have a situation where we have a second, or like a... We have a second Weltkrieg, essentially. We have the same sort of general situation with monarchists versus syndicalists, but we have a continuation war against Spain and against the American revolutionaries, which then potentially brings in all of the other syndicalist nations of the world. With von Goering gone. Oh, so he was actually sacked after the investigation. We must select a new statthalter. While he is disgraced, there is still hope for a new colonial regime to bring order to the colony, or perhaps the old ways advocated by the Deutsche Kolonialgesellschaft or Kolonialgesellschaft are best. Or lastly, reform may be the only way to prevent exactly this kind of behavior. So we could get a new statthalter. Oh, so we always will get a new statthalter, and it doesn't actually tell us who they are. But we could either have... So the Deutsche Kolonialgesellschaft are... I'm guessing kind of like an overseeing regulatory body that also oversees the AOG and eventually the German East Asia kind of business here. While the NKR are, say actually, but paternal autocrat, and that is not exactly what we are. I'm not actually sure which one we're gonna pick. I'm gonna save it for the next episode, actually, and I'm gonna look up what the results of these different choices are, and then I'm gonna choose kind of based on what the results are. But we're not gonna make like the optimal play. We're gonna choose whichever one feels right, I think. In any case, this is the end of the video, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.